hello. What a guan, what a guan. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Got a fantastic show for you guys here today. Fantastic show. So, I know some of you probably didn't believe me when I was telling you about going on vacations, eating 4,000 or 5,000 calories and losing a pound or two, or maybe just not putting on weight. I'm not sure you guys actually believe me. Did you believe me? Well, if you don't believe me, I think you'll believe today's story, right? How can one person eat a ton of calories like that, or even more, and be well over 300 pounds? And how can another person eat a ton of calories, well over 300, and be only 130 pounds? So we got a 300-pound person, and we got a 130-pound person, right? They both eat a ton of calories. A ton of calories. I know. You think I'm exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating, man. Not exaggerating. You too can do this. It is possible. It is possible. And I think the key to understanding why one person can eat a ton of food and be 300 plus pounds, another person can eat a ton of food and be 130 pounds, or you can do what I do, which is sporadically eat a ton of food and don't go back to the old me, the obese me, the pre-diabetic me. Yeah. The guy with all the skin problems. It is doable. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. I know it sounds fantastical, but it's not this hocus pocus mumbo jumbo. I'm not telling you you're going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days or put in 30 pounds of muscle in 30 days, right? Nothing crazy like that. What I'm talking about is something that's actual and factual, realistic, very realistic, right? Let's see who we got in the show so far. Welcome, Igwe's daughter. Hello, Sika Methis. Happy Friday. As usual, she's with the peace. Yes. Positive therapist. Hello. Skincare's do's and don'ts. Hey, guys. Happy Friday. Hope everybody's ready for the weekend. Hello, Angelique. Hey. And I'm going to do a show for you, Angelique, about pre the baby working out and post the baby working, something along those lines, right? I'll definitely do that. Lots of ideas percolating there, Angelica. Just got to figure out how to put it all together. So, all right, today is going to be kind of a surprising show, but it will make a lot of sense. I think for some of you who have been here for the previous shows, some things I've said in the past will make even more sense to you, I believe. So let's get into it.
Seen both Nikocado, Avocado, and Matt Stonie inhale a week's worth of food in one sitting. However, there couldn't be a bigger night and day difference between their builds and bodies. So what has led to one becoming a renowned, popular fan favorite YouTuber, while the other is viewed as a big-bellied behemoth? Let's find out. First, the most important and obvious point is diet.
Duh.
Did you know that the body is able to absorb a maximum amount of calories within a limited time frame? Based on the studies that show that the body has a maximum absorption rate of a variety of substances, the reasonable assumption is that the body would get to the point when there's too much food for it to absorb, so it would therefore get passed through the body. There are no official academic studies as evidence for this, but the general consensus of nutritionists online is that this is the case. The TLDR of this is that in a short time frame, the body can realistically only absorb 8 to 10,000 calories. I say only, but that's still a metric ton of food. Now, why is this important to note if Nikocado and Matt Stonie both consume similar amounts of calories in each sitting? Although they
10,000 calories, that's a ton of food, right? That's a lot of food. I don't think anybody watching the show needs to get to 10,000 calories. I mean, look at that guy go. It's just devouring that stuff, right?
They appear to eat similar foods on screen. It's what they do off screen that matters. When viewed on an individual or per video basis, they're not too different. However, when you stretch it out and take a look at the bigger picture with the frequency of how often they upload, it becomes much clearer. If you compare their channels, you can see Nikocado upload frequently across all three of his channels. It almost equates to a daily meal. As much as you dislike the content that he puts out, you've got to respect the amount of hustle that he puts in. The man's pumping out more content than some of the top content creators, which is great news for views and money, but his health? Not so much. There's no denying that this is his main diet now. Matt, however, does a challenge video a week, which leads to the question, what's Matt's diet outside of his videos?
Like in the off season, I'm just normal guy, just eating normal food.
In an interview with GQ, he stated that on normal days, he eats about 2,000 to 2,500 calories.
Now, for an active person, an adult male or an adult female, that is pretty normal, right? The standard caloric intake for the day is typically around 2,000 calories. Surprisingly, a lot of you aren't eating enough food. I know. That sounds crazy. Heresy, right? Not eating enough food. But many people, I find, they're just not eating enough food. You know, this lady helped lose 50 pounds, increased her calories about 60%, right? And she lost 50 pounds. I know it's surprising. It's kind of it's a mind, you know what, to think that you're not eating enough food. But trust me, you're not eating enough food, which is why this guy can eat 2 to 2,500 calories and not gain weight, because he's burning quite a lot of calories. He's a very active person, as you'll see. As you can tell by the picture, he's a slim guy, right? Now, I eat close to 3,000 calories a day. I'm obviously not fat. I work out. A couple of years ago, if I ate 3,000 calories a day, I would definitely get fat, right? I know it's kind of hard to wrap your brain around not eating enough food, because when I was obese, I was eating far less food back then, rather. And as I lost weight, my caloric intake went up. And I have the science to back this up, actually the actual test results, because when I got my resting metabolic rate, or otherwise known as basal metabolic rate, tested, it was terrible. It was like 1,100 calories. That's like a child, meaning that's not the calories my body was burning every day without doing anything, just to keep me alive, so to speak. Now I burn 2,100 calories. Huge difference. Just like 1,000 extra calories I get to play with, right? So if I just eat 2,100 calories a day and did nothing would happen. I mean, of course, now when I move around and exercise, now I'm burning more calories. And this is how I can eat 3,000 calories. Plus my body is much more efficient now at handling the calories than way back when, right? There's a lot of things into this, but trust me on this, most of you are not eating enough calories. Most fat people, it's a misconception. It's a myth that they're just sitting there devouring food like Avocado, right? That's not actual case. Many of them skip breakfast. And when they start tracking their calories based on how their weight, they're not eating nowhere close to enough food. Nowhere close to enough food. Now, some of this will make more sense as we go through this video.
Which is just below maintenance calories for someone of his stature.
You heard what they said. 2,000 to 2,500 calories is just below maintenance levels. Just below, meaning he can eat a little bit more just to maintain his weight. That slim little guy there. Think about that. Now, a lot of you out there are eating way less than 2,500 calories, and you're way bigger than that guy. How can both be true? It seems like a paradox, right? A paradox. No, it's not a paradox, as you will see.
He has also shared his typical diet on the normal days. Based on his videos, you'd expect large portions, but it's surprisingly small and healthy. We've all probably got a family member who's trying to keep off the weight, eat more in one sitting than this man does on a regular day.
There's your first clue right there. Somebody's trying to lose weight and they eat more in one sitting than this guy eats in a regular day. So, you see, I eat a ton of food every day, just like this guy. But it's a different kind of food, right? It's not all healthy, right? I eat my ice cream cake sandwiches. I've mentioned this before. I'll do my Applebee's spare ribs as a cheat meal, right? But it's a lot of solid food. I'm not drinking my calories, and it's not fluffy, easy to consume things, right? Minus my ice cream cake sandwiches. That's a big difference right there, right? That's one of the key differences right there. That's why somebody can go get one of these sandwiches that are quasi-healthy, supposedly, I should say. It's like a 2,000 calorie sandwich. That's crazy, right? Or eat some form of cookies or muffins that are hundreds and hundreds of calories. Eat a couple of those, boom, you're at 1,000, 1,500, blah, 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 blah. And that's why people suffer, right?
Matt studied nutrition in college, so he's aware of all the different things that his body needs in order to stay healthy. Things such as antioxidants, fats, minerals, and vitamins, etc. Nick, on the other hand, continues to consume high-calorie junk food. This is an issue as it literally changes your brain. A UK...
By the way, for those who don't know who Matt Stonie is, the slim guy, he's won those hot dog eating contests, like the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. This dude can eat like 60, 70 hot dogs in one sitting. So he's a world-class devourer of food, right? You know, he's world class. He can eat way more food than you and I can eat, all right? But you see what he looks like.
Doctor experimented with the effects of consuming processed foods for 30 days. These were the results. His overall weight went up by 6.5 kilos. His body fat went up by 3. There have been a multitude of studies showing that the brain's response to junk food is similar to cocaine.
I know we spoke about this before in another video with processed foods and ultra processed foods. This is true. Some of these things do have addictive qualities to them, right? I also referenced a story I saw several years ago. I think it was 60 Minutes about sugar, where they put a guy in, I think, the MRI machine, I like to say, or one who did a brain scan, and they drop like a single drop of some kind of soda on his tongue, and they look at the brain images, and his brain lit up like that of a cocaine addict getting a hit of cocaine, right? Sugar is incredibly addictive. When you're fiending or having a strong desire for that sugary thing, that's not an accident, right? Another thing, we don't talk about it in this show, but Stonie, he has good sleep hygiene. Avocado most likely does not. So that's another thing that's messing with him, right? His hormones are probably out of whack, especially like ghrelin hormone, the hunger hormone, right?
This moves on to the next reason beyond diet. Mentality. Without proper nutrients, the body cannot produce the appropriate chemicals and hormones required for clear thinking and healthy mood, which leads to aggression, irritability, and...
Notice it's hard to focus on him in the background. Notice what he's doing with all the antics, right? He's like a big kid, essentially.
even violent tendencies.
Now, some of this is obviously an act for his show. Don't get me wrong, right? But he was not always this big. He was actually a very slim guy. If you look him up, I was shocked. He's like super slim originally. And from what I could see with his videos, he acted more calmer, let's say, for lack of a better word, when he was much slimmer. Now, granted, some of this I'm sure is an act, but still. These food items have been shown to do alter your perception and your behavior. They do have some strange chemicals in them.
As discussed earlier, there is an effect on Nikocado based on the food alone, which affects his state of mind. It's like a chicken and egg scenario that feeds in on itself. It definitely started off with eating just a bit of
when he's much slimmer, right? A much slimmer Avocado.
Junk food. However, it kept snowballing. The previous UK doctor that did the experiment did it for 30 days, but unfortunately for Nick, it's been much longer than that. Nikocado views it as his comfort. It's what he instantly turns to whenever things get difficult. He has made it a coping mechanism for himself, and the sad thing is that he's become much more emotionally volatile because of his diet. Most people comment that he needs a personal trainer and to start exercising, but I think a therapist would be much more important to start.
I agree here. You know, when clients aren't ready mentally to change, they're not going to change. I've had this before, all right? My first coach, she said she had a 40% success rate. She's a world-class trainer. I remember being genuinely shocked at how low that is. And when she broke it down to me, it made so much sense, right? You have to be ready, mentally ready to receive that message to transform. It's all about the brain. It's all about the brain. I mean, why is it I was so chubby? Why did I get so fat? Right? Why couldn't I change? Why, when I lost 65 pounds, I put it all the way back on? You know, we've spoken about this just in yesterday's show about these mental hacks that lady was talking about. But until you're right mentally, it doesn't matter what diet you go on, what workout plan you have, you're going to fail. You'll do it for a while, but then you're going to fail. You're going to crumble because you haven't sorted out the mental part before. And I know sometimes stigmas are attached to seeing therapists, etc., counselors. But hey, man, if you need counseling, if food is a coping mechanism for stress, personal problems, you need to address that. Because until you address that, going to the gym, you're just spinning your wheels, right? You're going to yo-yo. You're going to do good for a couple of weeks, then you're going to backslide, then you're going to good. You're going to beat yourself up, blah, 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 right? It's all about this. Software. The software is more critical, much more critical.
He first needs to deal with his underlying problems, ones that are much deeper than his fat.
Emotional damage. You want some therapy?
Everything that Nick...
I have to laugh. I love that meme whenever it comes out. Emotional damage. I love that guy. He's hilarious.
Nick does seems like it negatively combines and they feed into each other. Unintentional pun. Creating a deeper and deeper rabbit hole that he can't escape. Even if Nikocado wants to quit right now, The built-up changes in his neurology would make it almost impossible with how addicted he's become to food. He'd probably have inexplicable cravings that he wouldn't be able to control. Matt, on the other hand, has an entirely different association with food.
He's much more positive if you think about it. It sounds kind of crazy, right? But when he eats, there's his competing in Nathan's, that world famous hot dog eating contest every 4th of July. It's different. Partly it's a job for this guy. And also when he does his challenge and everything, he can compartmentalize, right? It's like me and my ice cream cake sandwiches. When cherry season comes around, that's my number one vice, cherry season. But I know I cannot eat cherries and ice cream cake sandwich. This cannot be done, right? Remember, you can't eat a ton of carbs and have a lot of fat. So when cherry season comes around, I am on that fat content like a hawk, right? Every single gram of fat I'm counting meticulously, right? Why? Because I'm going to eat a ton of cherries. A gazillion grams of carbs is what I'm going to get. And even then, I cut back on my other carbs. Like this kombucha type stuff that I love, I cut back on that too. Because every gram of carb counts. Every gram, right? I got to pick a struggle. For every sip of that I take, or something else I eat, that's one less cherry I can eat. But every cherry more I eat, I got to do less of that stuff. This is how it is. The balance, right? Calories in, calories out. You cannot defeat the law of thermodynamics. It is what it is, right? And I don't want to be spending forever doing cardio every day. And yeah, I increase my cardio too during cherry season. Everything to mitigate the problems of the cherries, right? But I don't go too crazy. You got to recognize what's going on. I want the cherries, therefore I need to do other things. Cut back on some things, increase other things, so I can eat my cherries. You can do the same thing. It's the same principle, right? You have to have a healthy relationship with food and plan things out. You got to pick a struggle. You want to go drinking? Go drinking. But you can't go drinking and go eat a bunch of cake. You can't. You got to pick a struggle. What do you want, the cake or to have that drink, right? Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle.
He's aware of the adverse effects, so that's why he keeps his body in as good of a shape as possible. It's only ever been a one-time thing for him. He views it as his career and a challenge.
Damn, look at him go, man. Just shoveling the hog. It's crazy.
Challenge to overcome, and he eats with purpose.
From San Jose, California, Matthew Stonie. He's got the...
Told he was a world-class eater. I mean, think about it. A little guy. Like 60, 70 hot dogs in one sitting. Damn.
Exercising.
Exercising. You remember, you guys probably were laughing when I told you that world-class chess players exercise. I showed you Magnus Carlsen, how Buffy is, male model. Even the professional eaters are working out, man. Come on, everybody works out. That's how important exercise is.
It's hard to stay in shape, as a competitive eater. It's crucial though, because a lot of the competitors up on stage, they're not big guys, they're not heavy set guys like you'd think, because it's a 10-minute sprint when we go up there, and I'm doing my cardio, I'm doing my weights. I'm no Superman or anything,
Heard what he said? He's doing his cardio, doing his weights, right? And this dude's job is to eat a ton of food. He's hitting that gym and eating healthy too, right? And getting his cardio in.
Matt's exercise routine is infinitely better than Nikocado's, where the only movement Nikocado probably does is bat his eyelids, cry, and scream. Even though...
Now, some of that is obviously an act, right? But, part of it makes me think that some of that is not like an act. I think some of that is not an act.
Matt is consuming a large amount of calories, he has to spend it somewhere. If the calories go in, the calories must go out. Otherwise, you're breaking the laws of thermodynamics.
In this house, we obey the laws of thermodynamics.
Shout out to the laws of thermodynamics. I love The Simpsons.
Matt Stonie says that his exercise routine is to hit the gym 5 times a week doing cardio or weights.
5 times a week, man. I told you guys, minimum 4. Minimum 4. Optimally 6. 6 is the optimal number. Got to rest one day. Give your body and your mind a break. Your central nervous system a break. Got to take a break.
It really just comes down to diet and watching what you're eating after a contest. But I'm definitely in the gym 5 times a week doing cardio or weights. I've made this into my full-time job and I spend a lot of time taking care of myself.
You see how this guy's planned things out? You got to have a plan, man. You got to have a workout plan. Got to track your calories. You best assured this guy's tracking his calories. You best believe he's tracking his calories, right? Recording his workouts. If you don't have a plan, right? Those who fail to plan to fail. I'm sure you've heard that before.
It's hard. It's not like we have superhuman metabolism. In having a routine training schedule, he makes it so that his body has a way to use up that extra energy consistently. When you train your body, it's able to burn more calories more effectively. Muscle tissue burns much more energy than fat tissue.
You heard that. You guys caught that? There's two things. The better in shape you are, the more you can burn. This is why I burn a lot, because I'm in good shape. The more muscle you have, the more you burn. It's like the rich getting richer, right? It's like the rich getting... I remember my mind being blown when my first coach told me, second coach technically, he had went on vacation to England, and in 1 week he lost like 5 pounds or some craziness like that. And I remember thinking, what? And he was eating a lot of food, but he wasn't eating enough, and he lost. I was like, whoa, what? That was crazy. That blew my brain. But again, I told you guys, go to vacation in Jamaica, ate a ton of food, lost like 2 pounds, I think. The next year, I meticulously tracked to make sure I didn't imagine things. And yeah, it was 4,000 or 5,000 calories, right? The fitter you are, it's like making an investment, compound interest. Make an investment today, so it will pay off in the long run, right? But you have to make that investment, that initial investment. Now, that's where it's difficult, right? Because now you need deferred gratification. Why do some people smoke? Because if they smoke today, the consequences are way in the future. They get lung cancer 20, 30 years from now, right? When you exercise today, you have to wait for the benefits, the full benefits, which makes it harder to do. It's a flip-flop, right? But if you eat that cake or that pizza right now, you get the benefits right now, right? That's why it's easier to be bad. It's so much easier to be bad. That's why, again, it's all about the mental, right? You heard some great tips yesterday for those who didn't watch yesterday's show. You know, whether it's putting the snacks high to reach places or hiding, making them not visible, or you do what I do, right? Once I finish with a cheat meal or something, I just throw the rest away. I don't want that temptation. A couple of weeks ago, I bought raisins to go with some cookies. 2-3 days later, I'm realizing I'm just munching on those raisins. So in the bin it went. I should have probably given it away, right? But I needed to remove that temptation, so I just gave it away. Got to get rid of that temptation, man. Never rely on willpower. Never rely on willpower. Why go through the problem? Just remove that temptation. If I want raisins again, I got to get in my car and drive to the supermarket. Do I really want raisins that badly? No, I don't think so.
That's just science. A shredded athlete would be able to burn off the same calories much quicker and better than an obese individual.
Well, that's not technically true. What it is that it's not a shredded athlete, it's an in-shape person. I'm not shredded, but I can burn a hell of a lot of calories. As I told you, my resting metabolic rate is 2,100 calories, right? So it's not that you're shredded, but most shredded people are pretty fit. You can kind of assume that, but it's really how in shape you are. The more efficient you are, the more calories you burn. So when you're fat and you work out for 30 minutes, you burn X amount. When you're in shape and you work out for 30 minutes, you burn X plus X plus X plus because X, right? So it's like the rich getting richer. Back to that compound interest example that I gave you. You put make an investment today, and it will grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. That's how that works, right? Oh, we got a super chat. Perfect timing here when I paused the show. Shout out to Skincare Do's and Oats. Thanks so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Good to know that caloric consumption can increase the more physically fit you are. Yeah, you know, that's one of the pleasant surprises. I think if a lot more people knew that, they would stick with it, right? Like I've said before, the two things that held me back: ignorance and arrogance. Ignorance, didn't know what I was doing. Some things that I thought were true were not true, and I didn't know what I did not know. Arrogance, because I thought I could, I'll just Google it, let's figure it all out. So when I got professional coaching, I told you that first was that IFBB Pro bikini model, right? You got to accept that there are things you just don't know. You need knowledge is power, as the saying goes. Knowledge is power. So yes, if you know what you're doing and you stick to it long enough, you will get to that point where you reap the benefits of that investment, right? It's built. But you gotta make that investment. Got to make that investment. Thanks again for that super chat. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Unlike Nick, Matt actually works hard, so his body is able to do what it needs to do. So in summary,
So you notice that, right? The guy is riding on little scooter things, right? He's not walking. I mean, walking is very underrated. Years ago, I used to make fun of people who walk. Walking is incredibly powerful, right? You see that in places like Europe or maybe New York where people are forced to walk just based on how the cities are set up. And what? They're slim. They're slim, very slim, right? Whenever you see places where people walk a lot, whether it's these big cities or maybe poor countries where transportation is more expensive, they're always slim, or they're a hell of a lot slimmer than here in the US. That I can say for sure, right? Because they're forced to walk a lot. You're constantly moving, that activity. For example, you eat, studies show if you go for a walk after eating, blood sugar management is significantly better. There's so many studies that show if you just go for a walk after eating, even if you didn't really change your diet, it's so much going to help you with weight loss. So much going to help you, or to at least to avoid weight gain, right? Your food is digested better as well. It's just a win-win-win-win-win-win situation all around, all around.
here are the major differences between Nikocado and Matt Stonie. 1. Although their diets look similar on screen, what they eat off screen is drastically different.
That's the key, right? One person is eating bad all the time, Nico Avocado. The other guy, like me, is eating bad some of the time. He's eating bad some of the time because this is his job, right? I'm eating bad some of the time because I just want to eat bad some of the time because the fruit tastes good. It is what it is. Whether I'm going ham on the cherries, and by ham, I mean I'm eating several bags per day. Bags, plural. I'm famous or infamous, depending on how to see it at my local Whole Foods. I will get a trolley full of cherries, at one time, right?
2. Matt burns much more calories and obeys the laws of calories in and calories out.
You got to do that, man. At the end of the day, if you consume more calories than you expend, over time, you'll put on weight. That's why when I go crazy on vacation, I can only do that for like 1 to 2 weeks. It's not something I can do regularly, right? Cannot do it regularly. You have to, eventually you have to course correct back to get on the straight and narrow, right? That's just how it works.
In other words, he actually exercises. And 3.
Hey, we got a super chat here from the Positive Therapist. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. Positive Therapist says, food addiction seems plausible because brain pathways that evolve to respond to natural rewards are also activated by addictive drugs. Yes, and the kind of food we have today, we didn't have a couple centuries ago. So our puny little brains are being overwhelmed, you could say.
The foods that Nikocado constantly eats is keeping him in a negative feedback loop to keep him eating while Matt eats in moderation. These are the differences that result.
I mean, look how different these guys look. I mean, look at that. They literally have the same thing on the screen, right? And they're so different, so dramatically different. Wow, that's crazy. They're literally wearing the same outfit too, right? Oh, they're both at the Heart Attack Grill. Wow, I didn't even realize that. Shout out to the Heart Attack Grill. I like to say the guy who founded that died of a heart attack because he weighed, I don't know, 300, 400, 500 pounds. I forgot how big the dude is. But yeah, look at that. Same little bib, same crazy, whatever that dish is called. They have crazy names, like cardiac arrest or some craziness like that. I'm like, wow, that is insane. But the gentleman on the left is out of control. The guy on the right, he's doing that, once every couple of weeks? Maybe it's months, but at least once, a minimum couple of weeks, I would think. But the other days, he's just eating pretty good, right? Again, 2 to 2,500 calories a day, which is below maintenance level, right? If I eat that, I'd be below maintenance level as well. But I'm typically eating like 2,800, 3,000 calories, and I'm maintaining, right? So the guy on the right is doing it the right way for sure. The guy on the left is doing it totally wrong. You cannot eat like that every day.
In a drastic change in outcomes, as shown through Nikocado Avocado and Matt Stonie. If you enjoy.
So I thought that'd be a good thing to go over today. It's nice and simple, right? Which explains things, because the root of everything, right, is diet. It's all about what you eat. I don't care what your workout plan is. I don't care how hard you work out. It's all about that. If you fail in the kitchen, you will fail. Guaranteed. We got another super chat from Positive There's. Wow. food addiction, sugar is noteworthy as a substance that releases opioids and dopamine and thus might be expected to have addictive potential. Yeah, there's some doctors that think sugar should be reclassified as a drug. Yeah, that sounds crazy, right? But it's not. I have a friend who told me a story of what's that thing, the high chair when kids are in, and they put some ice cream down it, and the kid didn't know what ice cream was, but they were like reaching for it, just trying to get to this thing. You put down some broccoli there, they weren't reaching for the broccoli. It's in our genes, man, because that super duper sweet stuff that wasn't out there in the wild. As a matter of fact, wild fruit, it doesn't taste as sweet as the fruit we get at the supermarket. That's been engineered over time, not necessarily GMO, just farmers been engineering food for the longest time, right? Just like people have been breeding dogs. So I thought that was a pretty good thing. Way to explain a lot of things, a nice, simple, black and white comparison. One dude is huge, eats a lot of food. The other dude is slim and still eats a lot of food, but he does it strategically, right? He does it strategically, and he exercises. You got to do both. You got to do both. Oh, wow. I got a third super chat. Is the positive therapist I wonder if she's partaking of some special fluids or something. I'm not sure. Do you realize you've given me 3 super chats now? Just checking. Just checking. I know it's Friday. I'm not sure if you're having too much fun over there, positive therapist, right? You want to create new neurological pathways by making changes, new activities with repetition. That's how you train your brain to build the new neurological pathways until the behavior is the new normal. Yep, that is so true. Again, it's kind of like brushing your teeth. You learn this as a kid, right? And it gets drilled into you. And then when you don't, your mouth feels clean or unclean, rather. It's kind of like taking a shower. The longer you go without doing it, the more unclean you feel, right? Similar to this, where after a while, if I stop going to the gym, I start to feel off. Actually, even before a while, I should say. I feel more off the longer the time period goes along. But it took a while for me to get that point. And the more recent thing, several years ago when I started the walking after eating. So when I eat and I just sit, I can feel the food in my stomach. As a matter of fact, when I eat and I stand, which is the next best thing, I can still feel the food. Just not the same like sitting, but if I eat and I go for a walk, everything just digests properly. Just think back to when you were young. You'd eat and then go run around or walk around. As a kid, you didn't just eat and sit down, right? I mean, kids today do that, but not you guys who are watching. You're in your 30s, 40s, 50s or whatever, right? When we ate, we'd be back to running around outside. Your parents had to drag you inside, right? Drag. You remember those days? They had to drag your ass inside. Nowadays, you probably have to kick the kids out of the house, right? So that makes a huge difference. Huge difference. Okay, got a super chat from Uwezimana Angelique. Thank you. I think you're the sponsor of today's show, Angelique. You're top of the leaderboard so far. Ignore my questions in the chat. I rushed to conclusion about that skinny guy eating unhealthy, but he then also eats healthy for most of the time. Aha! I got you. Yeah, I'm still glad you brought this up because it's a good thing to discuss. Your natural instinct of thinking the guy was doing it wrong is exactly how I used to think most people think. I remember being shocked. It was this podcast, Fat to Fit, and it was this guy who was well over 300 pounds tracking his weight loss, right? And they used to say, eat for the slimmer or thinner person you want to be. And I remember when I found this concept, I remember thinking, this guy is losing weight, he's eating more. That triggered something. At the time I was losing weight, I think when I was doing the triathlon, I was losing 65 pounds, and I was getting my body fat tested after a while on this bod pod. One of the little hospitals in Texas, it was like $25 each time or $20. It was subsidized basically. And I remember feeling good, my weight is going on. After a while, I noticed my muscles started to drop. And I was like, huh. And I was already pretty weak. The barbell only was heavy for me. And going to the gym, and it felt even heavier than usual. And I'm thinking, wait, something is wrong here. And I increased my protein and increased my calories a little bit. Kind of didn't tell the nutritionist at the time that I was working with. And next month, that muscle went back up. I was like, huh. That was my first hint to this eating more concept, right? Eating more, eating more, eating more. Again, remember, this guy eating 2,000 to 2,500 calories is below maintenance levels. I weigh 195 pounds and I eat 3,000 calories a day, right? Most people are surprised by this. I eat more than most people that are significantly bigger than me, all right? I remember, if you look at that interview with my first coach, I know back when I met her, she was eating like the way I eat back then. And she was like 130 pounds or something, right? Slim, a lady. So a lot of people are not eating enough food. So I know exactly what you're thinking, Angelique, because I thought the same thing. And one quick caveat, right? Eating healthy does not automatically mean you lose weight. If you eat too much food, so like, for example, when I lost the weight and put on the weight back, rather, I was legitimately eating healthy. I was eating organic, etc. But I was not exercising and I was eating way too much food. That's why I got fat again, right? I legitimately was eating healthy food, no fast foods, no burgers, no pizza. I don't really like pizza and burgers. That don't really do anything for me. Like I used to joke, I'm the only person I know who got fat off of fruit. I didn't get fat off of chocolate. I didn't get fat off of pizza or hamburgers or popcorn. I don't do popcorn, right? The most I do when I go to the cinema is like Raisinets. Again, me and my raisins, right? It's nothing the chocolate, it's the raisins. If they just sold the raisins, I'd probably just buy the raisins. So it's not the healthiness of the food in terms of losing weight, it's the calories. Granted, yes, all things being equal, if you eat 2,000 calories of healthy food versus 2,000 calories of cookies, it's better to eat the healthy food. Not saying that. But what I'm saying is don't just think because you eat healthy, you will lose calories. I mean, you lose weight rather, or maintain your weight. So that gentleman, while he eats bad a bunch of time, the other times, I don't know if he's eating organic or not, but he's clearly eating better. Or at a minimum, he's eating less calories, right? Again, remember the laws of thermodynamics in this, I should say maybe, on this channel, we follow the laws of thermodynamics. Maybe this should be my new tagline, or one of my taglines anyway. I think I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on that. So I'm glad you brought this up, Angelique. Thank you, because a lot of people are thinking like that. I know I used to think like that for sure. Yeah, I'm starting to think the positive therapist is enjoying herself with some special fluids or something. I think this is the fourth super chat. Shout out to that. It's stated it takes 10,000 repetitions to master a skill and develop the associated neural pathways. It's connecting the neurons in your brain like bridges in your brain. Okay. By the way, you don't have to keep super chatting me for me to read your comments, just to be clear, right? Thanks. You don't need to give me any more super chats, positive therapist, right? I read chats that are also not super chats, right? Okay, let me find some non-super chats now. Visia, what is that? Okay, so you ladies were talking about some skincare stuff. I've never heard of it. Okay. Interesting. Well, this is interesting. Let me bring this up. Visia. Some kind of digital mapping that you can do. It marks areas of sun damage, hyperpigmentation, skin. Okay. Interesting. Just going through the chat. And I dropped the link earlier. I pinned it as well for you. Anybody who wants to call in and talk chit chat. You got some comments, you got questions. Feel free. The link should be at the top of the chat that's pinned. If it's not, let me know. Just let me know and I'll drop the link again. Let's see. Yeah. I like this. That looks disgusting. That's too much pizza. Yeah, for sure. For Nico, Avocado, Angelique, that is way too much pizza. Yeah. Definitely. Oh, wow. Positive therapist. Oh my God, I just realized he's the same person. Yep, that is correct. Yeah. He looks so different. Yeah, he did. He literally transformed over YouTube, right? He was a very slim guy, but he just went overboard. You know, he's got some things he needs to deal with, obviously, which is where I think, when it's a coping mechanism, it's masking some other problem you're having, whether it's food or for some people it's alcohol. When it's masking a problem, you need professional help to deal with that problem, whatever that problem may be, right? Some kind of trauma, something currently going on in your life. But until you address that, it doesn't really matter what you do in the gym or trying to eat healthy or what have you, right? You're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. Here's a good question by Angelique. So if you can get all the nutrients you need within like 1,500 calories, is it necessary to still eat more than that? Well, so here's the thing, Angelique. Most people are not eating enough. So like you work out a ton, right? From what I recall, if you're just eating 1,500 calories, you're not eating enough. You're nowhere close to eating enough. Nowhere close to eating enough. Do you remember, actually, I've done this before. I need to just save this as like a bookmark or something, where we looked up the FDA, the amount of calories to eat in a day. And, the governments are conservative, right? And when we brought up the standard is 2,000 calories a day, but there's a PDF. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Found it. Man, I'm getting better. Lita turned to be so proud of me. I am getting better at this stuff. Look at me. Look at me. Found it already. Now I just got to do the whole share screen while I keep talking to you so I look like super smooth and everything and avoid the dead space. Wow. I'm going to pat myself on the back there. Yeah. Just kidding. So this is a pretty good thing. So let's get on to you ladies. So Angelique, you're talking about 1,500 calories, right? So let's say 1,500 calories. So if you're 10 years old, let's go with 11 years old and you're sedentary, Angelique, you should be eating 1,600 calories. If you're moderately active, 2,000. Active, 2,200. You're very active, Angelique. And you're a grown woman, right? Now, ladies don't like to say their age, so I'm going to assume you're like, 21 to 25, maybe 19 to 20. I don't know. I don't want to offend you. So you notice here, sedentary, 2,000 calories, right? 2,000 calories. Sedentary. That means you're not doing anything. You just sit on your ass all day. Moderately active, 2,200 calories. Very active, 2,400. So you remember when the guy said in the video, this gentleman is eating 2,000 to 2,500 calories and he's below maintenance levels. Remember, governments are conservative. Let's look at the males, right? Go up here to dudes. He said 2,000 to 2,500. You see how I got to go down to what? 13-year-old kid to get to the 2,600? Matt Stonie is an adult. I don't know his age, but let's pretend he's 21 to 25. Let's go with that. He's very active, so he should be around the 3,000 level or the 2,800 level. And these are averages, obviously, right? But he's 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. So he stays lean. And he's working out, right? But notice how big these are. How many of you can honestly say, because most of you watching the show are at least 30, right? How many of you can honestly say you eat 2,400 calories a day? This is assuming you're sitting on your ass. And for those of you that work out, are you eating between 2,600 and 3,000? You remember I told you that's what I'm doing, right? So you see, it's not that crazy. And it's not crazy when I tell you most of you are not eating enough food. I know it's counterintuitive, right? To lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. But I'm telling you to eat more food. How is this possible, Kirk? How is this possible, coach? If you're not eating enough, you're starving. And if you're starving, your body ain't going to shed fat. It's going to hold on to that fat because your body's saying, we don't know when this crazy ass dude or crazy ass lady is going to feed us again. We're going to hold on to that fat, right? Going to hold on to it. Let me scroll back down to the ladies. Again, most of y'all are over 30 or watching the show. That's what the YouTube analytics say. Sedentary, 1,800 calories. So Angelique, even if you're sitting on your butt all day, 1,800 calories. Look at this. From your 14-year-old girl, you should be hitting 1,800 calories, pretty much, right? From your 14 all the way up to around 51, 55. And if you're active, look at this number in the middle. 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. And again, governments are conservative. This is the FDA, right? See up here, fda.gov. You can Google this. And if you're very active, a lot more food. I know this stuff is very counterintuitive. It blew my mind when I first ran into this concept, right? So it's very important, Angelique, to eat more food. I know it's almost scary because we've been conditioned from a young age. Oh, if you eat too much, you're going to get fat, girl. If you eat too much, you're going to get fat, dude. But that's just not how it works, man. It's just not how it works. Think it's like cardio before weights. You guys have agreed with me now. Do your cardio after lifting weights. It's just how it is, right? It is how it is. So another pretty good question, Angelique. Thank you so much. So let's go. Think of the term flipping your lid. The amygdala is a tiny brain structure that registers emotions, particularly fear and anxiety. It's like holding your fist and opening it. Whoa, you're getting pretty deep there, positive therapist. Pretty deep. I like the next one. When all parts of the brain are functioning properly, they are communicating effectively and you're able to regulate your emotions. Yep. You guys know the term emotional eating, right? Where does that term come from? Because we're unhappy and we're reaching to food like chocolate. Chocolate releases the serotonin in the brain. There's a reason why chocolate makes you feel happy. It's not a figment of your imagination. It really is making you feel happy. Really, it really and truly is. Right? It really is. So let's see here. Scrolling back through the comments. I wish there's a way to both scroll back through the comments and see the new ones at the same time. Maybe I got to figure a way to do that. I'm sure there's got to be a way to do that. Got to be a way. But some pretty good questions. This is very true. Angelique brings up another good point. Person do not agree with eating contest shows. I think it is dangerous and can be deadly to some to eat too much food at once and as fast as possible. I agree 100% with that. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't surprise me if some of these guys, go to the bathroom afterwards to, do things to get rid of it. Because it's definitely not healthy for sure. Definitely not healthy, right? Yeah. And this is also true. After a while, you get diminishing returns, right? The law of diminishing returns. I see it with my cherries. I eat a bag. When cherries first come with that first week or two, I go crazy on the cherries. Normally I'll limit myself to 400 grams or so. But that first day, a couple days, man. But diminishing returns. It's kind of like when you get a nice new Netflix movie and you're binge watching it, right? I try not to go more than 2 episodes, max 3, right? Because you go more than that, diminishing returns. It's like it's like engorging yourself, right? That 3rd episode or 4th episode or 5th or 6th you watch in a row, it's just not as good as that first one, right? Just give it a break, resume tomorrow, give it a break. You will last long, you'll enjoy it more. This is so true. After a while, you stop enjoying the food and then it's pointless. Right. So when you can make that mental connection with the food, that was a big breakthrough for me. When I could consciously decide, okay, I've eaten this bowl of cherries. It was fantastic. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I could get another bowl or half a bowl, but I'm not going to enjoy it as much, nowhere near as much. Right. So I just say, that's it. The meal is now ended. I will wait a couple of hours and I can then eat cherries again. And I will enjoy them just as much as I just did. Enjoy those cherries. But if I go get another bowl right now of cherries, I enjoy them, but not as much, right? So the way I rationalize it in my brain is that I'm wasting calories here. Wait a couple of hours and devour some more cherries and enjoy myself, right? It's kind of like my Raisinets. When I go to the movies and I grab a box of Raisinets, sometimes I'm tempted to grab 2. Every single time I've done 2, I regretted it. I ate the 2. A couple times I've forgotten and I just ate 1, but I always regret it. The second box is just nowhere near as good as the first. Nowhere near as good. And I said to myself, why did I waste those calories? So most of the time, I just do the 1 box of Raisinets. I enjoy myself, maintain my sanity. I feel super duper happy. And I didn't go crazy. I have no regret afterwards. But when I do that second box, I'm always having the regret. It's like popcorn. Just get the small size, man. Do you need a super duper size popcorn? Even small is humongous as far as I'm concerned, right? Okay, let's see. Scrolling through some super chats I've read already. Let's see. Here's an interesting one. Basically, it takes roughly 66 days of repetition to form a habit, which would indicate a change in neural pathways. Yeah. Okay. I don't care. You won't offend me. I'm 25, almost 26. Okay, nice. Cool. Congrats on that. Okay, actually, so we got a correction in the second comment. Actually, I'm not close to 26. Okay. Well, that's okay. You're still looking good, Angelique. Still looking good. Still looking good. And now you know you can eat more, right? Now you know you can eat more. But like I've said before, when you're trying to get to that gram of protein, gram of protein per pound of body weight. Don't just go from 0 to 60, gradually increase. And this is where tracking comes in, because say you weigh 130 pounds or 150 pounds and you are eating 50 grams a day. Don't just go from 50 to 150 grams. Just gradually step your way up, right? Let your body adapt to the increase in food. Skincare do's and definitely not eating 2,000 to 2,400 calories. Yep. Yeah, like I said, most of us are not eating enough food. I know it's very counterintuitive. Very counterintuitive. You know, I was surprised myself. I was genuinely surprised myself, to be honest. That was a big surprise for me. Big surprise for me. Whoops. Okay. Oh, thanks for the super chat again. How or what are ways I can eat more calories? I think this is a struggle for many of us. Yes, it is. It's the biggest struggle that I have with my clients, right? Is eating the more food. They're like, I'm stuffed. So I can give you some tips. My first coach, when she gave me. First of all, if you're a dude, she challenged my manhood. She's like, look at all the food little old me eats. I'm sure a big guy like you can eat more or eat the same amount. So, of course, threw it on the gauntlet. So I had to accept the challenge, right? Secondly is use a timer. Your phone has a timer, right? So what I did, this was her idea, actually. So say you're trying to eat, say you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. You standard 3 meals, right? Or, well, let's say you were skipping breakfast. You start doing breakfast. That's the first thing, right? Now you're trying to add a 4th meal. You could add a shake. That's easy to do. If you're just not hungry, physically not hungry, just make a shake and drink it, right? That's an easy way to get the protein up and get a little calories. Again, you're taking baby steps here. Think of it as getting your way to real food, let's say. But do the protein shake as a backup. So you get a meal. Start with, say, the veggies or the protein first and leave the carbs for last, because carbs will fill you up. So say you have leg and thigh, some spinach, and sweet potatoes or rice. Make sure you get that veggies out of the way first and get the protein. If you can trust that you will eat the chicken and the rice, then sure, eat them both together. But if you don't trust yourself, eat the chicken first and then sit down there and eat that damn rice, or as much of it as you can. What you'll find is over time, you'll open up your appetite, because over time, you've suppressed your appetite, essentially, right? It's kind of like drinking water. When people don't drink enough water, they literally have no thirst symptoms, but they're dehydrated. Or I shouldn't say dehydrated, but their urine is clearly very yellow, maybe bright yellow, indicating they need a lot more water, but they don't feel thirsty. I drink a gallon of water a day. Easy. Super duper easy, right? I mean, 5, 7, 10 years ago, that was difficult, right? I had to train myself essentially to do that. A lot of people some people go through the entire day without drinking any water, or they'll drink like 1 glass of water. I mean, within an hour of waking up, I've already had 2 glasses of water, or 4, easily. I feel like I'm dying of thirst if I haven't done that. So, again, with the tip. So, you finish eating the food, Angelique, start a timer. Start the timer for 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. Just counting down. When that alarm goes off, You have 30 minutes to go eat. You just need to eat in the next 30 minutes. And that's because the program I was on initially, I believe it was like 5 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 other meals. So I would do the timer thing. When the timer went off, I would just go to the kitchen at the office, take out some food, heat it up, and go devour it. Right. And that's the other thing that helps in terms of trying to eat more food. Meal prepping helps. Having the food ready and available to eat. So then you just go and grab it, heat it up. If you have to go through the trouble to cook it or to prepare it, or it's time consuming to prepare, yeah, it's going to be difficult. Another tip could be prepared meals, right? There are lots of services that sell prepared meals. So if you don't have the time to prepare it yourself, do the prepared meals. You can order them. They can show up at your house, put them in your fridge, and just carry them to your office or wherever it is and heat them up, right? And a lot of those things taste pretty good. They taste pretty good. It's a good, very good question. Emotional eating is suppressing emotion you don't want to deal with. Yep, that is true. Skincare do's and don'ts. For me, it's the stigma connected with eating more food. From childhood, we're programmed to believe that eating more food is bad. Yep, that is so true. That is so true. That is so true. That is so true. Yeah. Yeah, when you're... Let's see. Sika Metis says, or she asks, maybe I'm counting my calories wrong. Is 400 calories the same as 400 calories on the food label? Yes, it's just 400 calories. Yeah, that's correct. So again, with MyFitnessPal, you'll see in there, usually want to use the check-marked food items because those have definitely been verified. But I mean, even when they're not verified, they're pretty much accurate. But yeah, 400 calories is 400 calories, Sika Metis. So here, this is where you got to win the battle of the fork and the knife of the plate, Angelique. You literally just have to eat more food. I mean, I'm just making up a number. Can you use 1,500? So I'm suspecting you're on 1,500, right? So if you say you want to go from 1,500 to 1,550, that's doable. Like, what's that old saying? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So to add 50 calories, just add a little bit to, say, 2 or 3 meals. Just add a little bit more rice, a little bit more this, or a little bit more that. That's not that difficult, right? If you add 10, 20 calories to your meals, yeah, that's 50 extra calories, 70, 80 extra calories, right? You can easily do that then. That's much more easy to do. Just add a little bit at a time. Just a little bit. This is where you got to be tracking. If you're not tracking, then you don't know what you're doing, right? Got to be tracking. Buy that food scale. I highly recommend the food scale. Don't be bothering trying to measure food. That takes forever. Scale is way better. You just put the container down, throw the food or the liquid on there. Boom, you know what it is. You move on. Because I used to be trying to measure, get stuff just right in the measuring. That takes forever. Forever. Don't do that. Don't do that. Looks like I need to eat more calories. Yes, probably. Yes, you should. So, good question. Yeah, I'm not eating close to even 2,000 calories. Maybe if I include the oil in the food. When you said the oil in the food, actually, I thought you meant the oil from cooking. If that's what you mean, yes. If you use whatever oil you're using to cook, yeah, you gotta factor that in too. So whatever oil you put in the frying pan, if that's what you mean, Angelique, yes. Anything that goes, anything you ingest, drinking, eating, whatever, then yeah, it counts. It definitely counts. So the oil, cooking oil counts for sure. Everything counts. The sauces. You remember, that's one of the ways salads get super unhealthy, right? The salad dressing. Some of the salad dressings are crazy. 1,000 calories. I mean, those things are no joke, right? Those things are no joke. No joke. So yeah, it's difficult at first. I'm not gonna lie. It was difficult for me to eat all the food at first, but then gradually my appetite just opened up. Patted like the Red Sea, and now it's easy for me to devour food. It's very easy for me to devour food with no problems. No problems whatsoever. No problems whatsoever. Hey, remember to hit that like button. Likes are free. So help me out with the YouTube algorithm. We'll let other people know of the show. So hit that like button. Smash that like button, right? Smash the like button. Likes are free. It won't cost you anything. So let's see. Oh yes. My heart was broken when I saw the calories in the salad dressing. Yeah, unfortunately broken the hearts of a couple of ladies when I pointed this out to them. They're like, "Oh my god!" When they realized, and they were like, and then they recalculated it. They're like, "Yeah, yeah." The good news is, see, you cut that stuff back, man. You'll see some fast changes on the scale. You know, when you easily whack out 1,000 calories or 500 calories just from the salad dressing, boom, you're in your caloric deficit right there to lose that pound to 2 pounds of fat per week, man. Yeah. Here, the positive therapist says, I have the grocery store steam all of my shrimp. I cook my veggies and prepare my meals. They also steam my lobster tails, splitting them and pulling them out of the shell. Okay, nice. They get it ready for you. Yeah. Salad dressing, says skincare dudes, is the devil. She also says it is overrated. I mean, I guess so. Thankfully, I was never into salad dressing. Like I said, I got fat just from eating fruit, which is crazy. I know. I'm the only person, unless you guys know somebody that I know of who got fat, legitimately fat from fruit. And I was eating organic too. That's kind of crazy. Proof about the calories in, calories out. You've got to burn the calories. You just have to burn those calories. There's no getting around. On this channel, we obey the laws of thermodynamics. Yeah, I'm definitely going to start using that for sure. That's going to be my thing. And I don't think anybody's doing that either. So I got to get on that. Yeah. I like the salad dressing is overrated. That is so true. I'm going to drop the link again in case any of you guys want to call in, just in case. Just in case. Sika Methis says, I love my Polynesian sauce. Yeah, some of those sauces can be pretty high in calories. Oh, the link is not working? Oh, okay. Let me try this again. Copy the clipboard. Maybe the old one I put up there. Try that link, Angelique, if you're trying it. Maybe the one I pinned it to outside does not work. Let's see, what did I pin out there? Actually, let me click the link and see what happens. You're entering a broadcast studio. Wow, I'm entering my own studio. That's funny. Or I can. No, it's working, Angelique. I just clicked on it. So, tell me, is it still not working? Because I just tried clicking it. It looks like it's working to me. Positive therapist says, Sika Meatis, I no longer add dressing to my salad. I fill it up with shrimp. Vegetables I love loaded with the mushrooms, all of the peppers, radish, carrots, all of it. Okay, so Uzamana, I see you've called in, but it says device is not connected. Maybe that's what you're talking about, because it's not allowing. They will need to connect their mic cam before you can add them to the stream. Okay, so you need to apparently connect your mic or cam before you can get in. That's the message I am getting here. They will need to connect their mic or cam before you can add them to the stream. So I'm assuming you're having technical difficulties there, Angelique. Adding, Sika Meaty says, adding that to my grocery list now. Yep. Yeah, filling this. I think I mentioned this to you guys the other day. When I first started eating veggies, I had to have seafood in there just to overwhelm the taste of the veggies. But yeah, seafood make veggies taste fantastic, man. Salmon overpowers anything. Shrimp is pretty good too. And that's a good way to slowly but surely increase your protein as well. Oh, Sika Meatis with the jokes tonight. Taking over for Tamika. Butt hurt, LOL. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm glad I never fell in love with salad dressings, luckily. But I know a lot of people are like, damn, salad dressings are rough. Yes. Okay, MacBook and blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, usually Macs are very easy to use because I'm using a MacBook Pro myself. So let's see. You're on a MacBook. It should be easy just to call in, I would think, because Macs are like super duper easy. I mean, they're very, how to put it, intuitive in the sense that they just work compared to IBM compatible PCs. If it's brand new, I've never used it, but it should ask you to turn on your webcam or do that automatically, I would think. You know, worst case, you could try your phone. I mean, optimally, when you do call in, well, if you're not doing any audio for sure, video, the phone works great, right? But StreamYard does recommend Ethernet connection. So, like when I did the Good Show day before yesterday, I forgot to turn off my Wi-Fi. So I noticed the video quality was not super duper good. But if you're just calling in with just audio, then your phone works just fine. So you can always just try your phone, Angelique, if you can't get the MacBook to work. I'm using a MacBook Pro. Granted, it's with my camera, but automatically, every time I sign to StreamYard before I turn on my camera, the webcam automatically lights up. So I'm not sure why yours is not working, to be honest. Okay, let's see what else we got going on. Let's see, does anybody else want to try to get on? Dropping the link again for you guys. Scrolling through. I heard a beep, but still getting devices not connected. Yeah, maybe your best bet is to use your cell phone. Yeah, I'm not sure what to say because the first time I tried StreamYard, Angelique, I just connected with my MacBook Pro and it just worked. This is before I figured out how to connect the camera. All right, so I would say worst case, just try your cell phone. Positive therapy says dysregulated people act like toddlers having a temper tantrum. Yep, that is true. That is very true. They're definitely not in full control of themselves, I would say that. Not in full control of themselves. Definitely not that. Yeah. Sika Metis from the Positive Therapist says, try cucumber, kale, arugula, carrots, celery, mushrooms, and broccoli, 3 grams of nuts. Yeah, nuts in salads can taste pretty good. And I mentioned to you guys blackberries. I'm not sure why blackberries are great. I think that's the first time I got into blackberries was from a salad. It's like blackberries and cheddar cheese with spinach and pieces of chicken, I think. That's a delicious meal. Definitely a delicious meal. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Just to make sure the link really is, I'm going to. See, Angelique, it looks like you figured it out. You're triumphant. Okay, I'm going to bring you up from backstage. Good evening, Angelique. How's it going?
Not bad.
Oh, not bad. Your hair. Your hair looks nice. Congrats. Looks nice.
No, it's old. I need to redo it.
Okay, I'm a guy. What can I say?
I think I actually might cut it again.
Okay.
I cut my hair all the time. It's not new.
Okay, got you.
So I'm actually on my phone, but I was trying to be on my laptop.
Yeah.
And like listen to the chat on my phone. That's what I usually do.
Okay. Got you.
And my phone, it's telling me to like go to like system reference and making sure the Google Chrome is like checked off for camera and audio, and it's checked up. It's just not working. I think I'm having an issue with my laptop in general because I couldn't figure.
You might just have to reboot. I mean, rebooting solves many problems.
No, it's
not that.
I just don't know the exact thing it's asking me to do because I had to call Apple earlier to connect my speaker.
Okay.
And all I had to do was go to the settings, so I know it's me not understanding.
Okay, got you.
This computer works. So.
User error, huh? User error.
Yeah, it's definitely me. And
Okay, nice.
I got it for like Christmas, and I still don't know how to use it. I never actually own a MacBook. This is my first
Okay, gotcha.
MacBook.
I
Yeah,
think they
so
still have that feature where for free you can make appointments at the Apple Store for tutoring, I think. And they're
I
pretty
think
good.
that's what I need to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The with the Genius Bar, literally they sit with you one on one and they just teach you, and it's free. You don't have to pay for it. You just schedule and just go in. Yeah, great customer
Yeah,
service. I'm surprised it's your cell phone because the quality looks pretty good. Okay,
it's the 11.
okay, got you. Or you
Yeah.
just have really good Wi-Fi. I'm guessing. Maybe it's that. So,
No, my Wi-Fi is pretty crappy
oh
too.
really? Okay,
I
all
think
right.
it's the phone.
Okay, let's go with the phone then. All right. So what questions do you have or comments do you have?
Um, I just feel like that 3,000 calories, that's extreme.
Green.
I
I
don't think
know.
I could. No, I honestly cannot see myself being okay eating that much. Like personally, I just like
Mhm.
that's a lot.
I know. It's hard to wrap your brain around, right? Everybody struggles with this. Everybody struggles with this, right? Everybody. My last coach, he had a lady he was coaching. I like to say he had her at like 3,500 calories and she weighed like 120 pounds or something. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's hard. I know. It's difficult.
I don't believe
Yeah,
it.
on a
I'm
regular
in
basis,
denial.
I eat 2,800 to 3,000 calories, and on vacation, it goes up to 4 or 5,000 calories. Yeah, I can easily do that now. Back then, it was a struggle for me because what I mean, your metabolism is slowed down, and you literally. Here's a good analogy to analogy I've used to explain to people. You know the concept of like the frog in a pot of water. If you slowly turn up the heat, the frog won't jump out. It will just sit there. If you put the frog in hot water, it will just jump out, right? But if you slowly turn up the heat, it will sit there. And that's what you're doing with your body. You're slowly turning up, imagine the furnace, to slowly, incrementally adding calories each week, right? Just slowly doing this. One of the concepts behind this is reverse dieting, where you can slowly increase calories and somebody can actually lose weight if they're doing it the correct way. And then when they get to a certain level, they can go back down. That's why it's called reverse dieting. You're increasing as it goes up and you can lose weight, and then they bring it down on the way down, right? As long as you know what you're doing, that can be done. But this, when I was doing this, it wasn't some master plan. It just happened organically. I was just, as I lost more weight, I was just eating more and more and more and more and more. My caloric intake just kept going up. And when I got my resting metabolic rate tested a year later, it went from the 1,100 to the 2,100 calories, right? Because 1,100 is like a child. As a grown man, my metabolism was terrible, right? And it was like a child. And I knew to get it tested because years before I lost the 65 pound, that nutritionist had got me. She did the test and she showed me, and she was like, "Boy, it's gonna be hard to diet you because your metabolism is so low." I was like, "Oh wow!" So when I got fat again, I knew to get it checked. And so when I saw that number, I wasn't surprised. But I knew if I worked out, you slowly. So look at it this way. I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you or somebody else. If you're working out a lot and you're not hungry, then that's a sign something is not right. Because if you're expending all this energy, you should have an appetite, right? Because maybe you're overtraining, as in not eating enough, or maybe it's not getting enough sleep, what have you. But initially, sometimes you just have to eat a little bit more. Just force yourself. And if you literally can't stomach the food, you can drink it. Drink a shake. Everybody can drink something. Just drink a shake.
Yeah, so I noticed
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm focusing on like sleeping more, I'm
Yeah.
actually hungry in the morning when I wake up.
Yay.
I never used to wake up and be hungry. I
Yes.
wake up and I'm like, I feel like I could eat the whole fridge.
Okay, nice.
But then I start with an apple, and
Mm-hmm.
then all I have is my shake, and I'm done for the day.
Okay.
Should I just not eat certain things to trigger me to not eat enough calories for the rest of the
Yeah.
day?
Because I remember in even the video I did, one of the tips to avoid overeating was to eat an apple before your meal. Because an apple can really fill you up. It really can with the fiber and stuff. It's one of those fruits. It's not like cherries or grapes where you can just devour them and still be hungry. Yeah, the apple really, it's work to eat that apple, and it can kind of fill you up in a sense. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if I should just not eat an apple first,
Yes, don't
so
eat it
that way
first. Don't eat it first.
I
Yeah,
can eat
don't
as
eat it
much
first.
as I can when I wake
Yeah.
up that
So,
morning.
simple example. This just happened to me a couple days because it's fresh in my mind. I normally do egg whites and oatmeal for breakfast. I ate the oatmeal first, which I almost never do, and I could feel the difference eating the egg whites second. I ate the egg whites, but I felt full while I was eating the egg whites. Where normally when I eat egg whites first, I don't feel full. And most times, not because of any scientific principles, there are certain foods we eat in certain orders, typically, right? And there's a reason for this. There's a reason you don't typically start your meal with the dessert. If you started with the cake, what's going to happen? Just think about when you were a kid. Your parents didn't want you to eat the cake first. Why? Because if you ate the dessert first, they knew you wouldn't eat the dinner, right? You just wouldn't do it. But a couple hours later, you'll be starving, right? So there's a reason they don't want you to, even at a restaurant, the maitre d' doesn't come and say, well, here's the dessert menu. What would you like? No. Start with the appetizer, the entrees, then the dessert. There's a reason we do these things. Yeah.
Unless you request it.
Yeah, unless you request it. Yeah. But no, man, it's fresh in mind. Just happened a couple days ago, man. It's crazy. I almost forgot to eat the egg whites, right? It was on a plate separately. I ate the oatmeal and then I was like, wait a second. And I was like, oh yeah, damn, I didn't eat my egg whites because I literally felt full from the bowl of oatmeal. Yeah. So carby stuff tends to fill you up first. And that's why my coach, she told me, eat the meat and the veggies first. And then whatever space I had left is what she said, eat the carbs, right? Because when she gave me the diet, it was like, she just put me to like 3,000 after that.
But one more question. Don't the carbs usually come with more calories though? So wouldn't you want to start with them so that you're eating as much as the calories?
No, fat is the thing that comes with the most calories.
Okay.
Yeah, fat is the more calorically dense. Forget if it's like 9 calories per gram or something like that. It's more. Fat definitely is more. That's why you can get in trouble easily eating a ton of fat, right? Very easily. Like I said, nuts are healthy, but just a handful of nuts is a good amount of calories. Or where that apple or a plate of spinach is like nothing, basically, right? But if you eat, the equivalent of an apple's worth of nuts, that's way more calories, way more, and it's all because of the fat. All because of that. But some food items just fill you up more. Like you notice with your apple, that's not an accident.
Yeah.
It's not an accident. So you can still eat your apple, just eat something else before. I mean, what kind of foods do you like?
I like oatmeal. I like pretty much things that would fill me up quicker.
Okay.
In the morning time.
There you go, oatmeal. Well, what about the eggs or eggs? Like, what do you do for protein in the morning?
Well, I'm on the plant-based, which I think I'm gonna have to change.
Okay.
To eat more calories. I don't think I'm eating enough.
Gotcha.
I think I'm gonna have to make adjustment in the meantime until I figure out a way to incorporate or eat more. I guess I'm gonna try egg whites.
Okay.
And maybe like bread, like a toast of bread or something.
Okay. And try to get sprouted bread if you do the bread, just to minimize any kind of reactions. By the way, when you had your first kid, were you plant-based back then?
Yes, fully.
Okay.
And I think that's why I'm like this whole like, oh, a lot of calories isn't making any sense, because when I was pregnant with her, I was having about 1,700 calories a day. But then now I'm realizing I wasn't including the oil, but I really wasn't like crazy into like cooking with a lot of oil, so I didn't think it added a lot of calories.
It may add a lot more than you think, because when they did the measurements, right, it's like a teaspoon of oil, and when you pour to cook, it's probably more than a teaspoon. You know what I mean?
Right. So with her, I managed to like. So I was 115 and I was all belly by the time I gave birth.
Okay.
And then the weight just kind of like reflected as soon as I gave birth.
Yeah.
And it's because I also chose to nurse her.
Okay. Well, that's the right thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. She never got formula or any even cow milk.
Okay.
Because she's lactose. So I didn't want to force her anything
that
could be bad for her tummy.
Yep.
So. And I feel like it's misconception about like nursing and losing weight, because I found myself eating a lot in the middle of the night because she would nurse. and
Uh-huh.
I would just go crazy in the fridge.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I was eating unhealthy. I was
Mhm.
eating healthy.
Okay,
But
I
it's
believe
like
that.
I was just eating and going back to bed trying
Yeah.
to sleep. Like
Yeah.
I didn't care about like
Yeah.
getting back in shape. I was like,
Right.
I'm tired and I'm
Yeah.
hungry,
Yeah.
so right? And I have bought
Mm.
so much frozen meal from like Whole Foods, like healthy
Okay.
stuff. And I
Yeah.
was like, why am I gaining weight? It's healthy as hell.
Yes. Yeah, you can
So
get fat eating healthy. I did it. I got fat eating healthy, because it's all about calories in and calories out.
yeah, there's definitely a misunderstanding about
Yeah.
just eating healthy and then you're straight. That's a
No,
lie. And I
yeah.
learned that. Um,
Yep.
and I'm wondering if there's like hormonal change the like
Mm.
or forever. Like however I used to think
Mm-hmm.
before, mom body,
Yeah.
it's different like moving forward no matter what I do. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if that's what's going on with me and maybe I'm in denial because I'm like, oh, I need to go back to 115,
Yeah.
period.
It can be
So
done, it can be done. Because like I know my mother, what was she? She's 5'6". She was not working. I mean, previous generations weren't really going to any gym. And when she had me, she weighed 130, and then she weighed 140 when she had my brother. So she wasn't going to any kind of gym, and she had a desk job, right? So it is doable. I would guess your grandmother I'm guessing genetically, she probably was around the same weight that you are at your age, most likely, and she wasn't going to any
mhm.
gym, right? So it's doable. It's definitely doable. It's
Oh,
definitely.
and she had 12 kids.
Oh, there you
So
go. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy, but it is doable. Just when you start tracking things like the food, you might be surprised. Either you're going to find out you eat way less than you think you do, or you eat way more. So, for example, when you think you eat 1,700 or 15, were you tracking it to know, or were you guesstimating?
no, I was like, I was so like,
Tracking it.
maybe I was even overestimating it. Well, I guess the only thing I didn't include was
Mhm.
the oil,
The
and I'm
auto.
realizing I'm not. I am trick. I am tracking it now, even though
Yes.
it's annoying. I'm doing it.
Yes.
I'm doing it. Actually, I realize what makes it easier for me is I
Mhm.
plan out. I meal prep, and
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
put everything in the fridge that I'm gonna eat for the day.
Mhm.
So I just like either enter in the morning or the night before,
Yes.
and if I end up not eating certain things, I just go and like
And delete
subtract
it.
it from
Yeah, I
that.
mean, I did the same thing.
That's working for me.
Yes.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do the same thing because you probably notice that you eat very similar things for the same meals. Yeah.
yeah, very similar things. It
Yeah.
just makes it easier.
It's a myth that we eat a lot of different things. It's a myth. I mean, I used to think this until I saw the science behind it. There's usually a handful of core things that we like that we eat all the time, generally speaking. So
Yeah.
I would just say
I know.
incrementally just slowly increase your calories, all right? Because the good news is, like you said, as soon as you fixed your sleep, right, your appetite opened back. So I would say, listen to that. I mean, you're very active. You're already working out a bunch. So if you're hungry, eat, right? I mean, do not eat when you're hungry. Your body's trying to tell you to feed us, fuel us, right? You're clearly not fat. You're nowhere close to fat, and you work out. So if you're hungry, eat. Just eat.
My other, huh?
No, 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 no. You go.
My other comment about
Mhm.
that guy, I actually didn't realize it was the same person.
Yeah.
But my comment with him is I didn't want, I guess when at the beginning when the video was playing, I
Mhm.
thought that he was just eating unhealthy the whole time,
Yeah.
and then he was just like exercising. And
Yeah.
then in my mind, I was like, okay, now he's in a fat body.
Hmm.
If he just stick to his diet and
Yeah.
exercise, would he still lose weight? But I guess I'm saying, is it possible to lose weight eating unhealthy?
Oh
If
yeah. Oh yeah. Big
if
time.
I guess you don't care that your internal
Exactly.
damage,
And I was just about to
you
say
know.
the typical bodybuilder does not eat healthy. They're not into, or I shouldn't say they're not into, but they just care about their calories and their macros. That's all they care about. So they will eat anything, right? It's I had a coach who looks fantastic, fantastic, right? he could eat 2 donuts in the morning as part of his breakfast, and he looked awesome. He looks like a great body because it's all about the calories, right? If he eats his donuts, he would balance it out later in the day by not eating something else or less of something else, right? And he has so much muscle mass, he's so physically active that he just burns that stuff off. So you can look fantastic. I mean, I don't know if you remember years ago when Michael Phelps was in the Olympics and he supposedly was eating like 10,000 calories a day or something like that. It turned out to not be that much, but he was eating thousands and thousands of calories because he was burning, with that kind of training, the swimming back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But you see what he looks like. He's ripped, right? So.
Yeah, I guess I have to agree on that because when I did that half marathon, I went from I think I was 108 and I went to 99 pounds. I lost so much weight in that between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely were not eating enough food, I'm guessing. But the good news is your appetite is opening back up because I remember when we first spoke, I remember that's one thing that jumped out at me. You were working out a lot and you said you were not hungry, which is never a good sign. But now, thankfully, you are hungry. Yeah, man, sleep. If you cheat on sleep, in this case for you, her twin brother, death will avenge her. So you got to get that sleep in. It messes with your hormones. You spoke about hormones earlier, right? That definitely messes with the hormones. Definitely messes with the hormones. So I'm not sure if we lost you. You're still there, but we lost the picture.
No, I'm here. I just had to go turn off the stove.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess those are all my comments and questions.
Okay.
I think as myself, because I'm I always get millions of questions when I hear new information.
Yeah.
And my goal is to listen to the science regardless of what I feel. Because I'm always I feel. And I'm sure a lot of ladies can agree with me. But I think this is a journey I want to take earlier on, especially because I'm young. I don't want to wait until it's so bad. And I know people could be like, "You're not that bad."
Don't listen to them, Angelique. Do not listen to them. Don't listen to them.
If there's one thing I'm learning is open-minded. You discover things
yes.
I had to give up on the idea that I was this small person and that the way to actually be healthy is to do a lot of the things that I'm learning from your channel.
Okay.
And I think that whole eating more calories, that's gonna take some time for me to just
it was for me too. Trust me, it was for me.
I'm gonna just slowly add and just
slowly, yes.
But now I feel like I'm gonna be obsessed with weighing myself. And it's something that I don't want to think about because I know that's not the point.
No.
That's not it doesn't say truly what you actually have accomplished.
Right.
So I guess my goal is to be mindful that science is science.
Yes.
No matter what you feel.
Yes.
Especially with the other day about cardio before.
Cardio,
I'm still well, I'm still losing weight doing it first, so why does it matter?
Yeah.
And it's well, do you want to be as efficient as possible at the gym, or do you want to be just silly and not listen to the science? So I'm okay, I don't want to be silly anymore.
Exactly. Facts are facts. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but not their own facts, right? Facts are facts. I mean, science changes over time. 1 minute they think this is good, then they go, oops, this is bad. But as of right now, do that cardio after you lift weights.
Well, if science changes on the cardio first, I'm gonna have a fist with them.
Yes.
I'm seriously gonna have a fist with them.
Yeah.
Because I feel I am going back to I feel.
Yes.
I feel like cardio when I'm sweating, I'm I'm ready to do weights, and I'm because my adrenaline is so hyped up, I feel like I end up lifting more. But that could just be I could
Exactly. You
possibly
feel.
do more
Exactly.
before I do the cardio.
Exactly. Yeah.
But because I feel like I'm trying to like just be like
Mhm.
mindful that my body would be stronger
It
before
would be.
cardio,
Yeah.
you know?
You said you've run a 5K before, correct?
Yes.
I mean, how tired were you at the end of the 5K?
Oh, I thought I was gonna die.
Okay, good. Now
I,
imagine running. Do you remember roughly how long you took? Like, what was your per mile per minute pace by any chance?
I started off like per mile, like 7, 8 minutes, and then I
That's
jumped
pretty
to like
good. That's pretty
12
good.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to like I wasn't like small because I didn't exercise either.
Mhm.
I used to do like 10 miles a day easily.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so
Uh,
you're competitive. When you were on the 5K, you were going at a competitive pace. Okay.
yes.
I
Yes,
got
I was.
Yeah.
But the more you kept doing,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it's because in your brain you want to win, but then it just I wasn't drinking as much as what I normally would.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
I was just thirsty.
Yeah. So, for example, at the end of that 5K, you said you thought you were going to die. Imagine trying to go lift weights after that. That'd be very difficult, right? Very, very difficult compared to doing lifting weights and then running said 5K. You could run the 5K after lifting weights. You just wouldn't go as fast. You wouldn't be doing any 8 minute mile at the beginning and then slow down to 12 minutes, right? But you definitely are not lifting much weights after running that 5K. So that's probably a good way for you to look at it, right? You couldn't go lift weights after running the 5K because you said you almost died. But I'm pretty sure you could lift weights and then run the 5K. You just wouldn't go as fast, right? So that hopefully that can help rationalize that in your brain. And then regarding the eating more part, it was a difficult thing for me. But luckily for me, I had the numbers because I was losing weight and I saw my muscle start to decrease from that the bod pod I was doing. This was way back when. And then this time around, as I ate more, because I was getting tested on the DEXA scan, which is the most accurate thing you can use. And as my fat loss kept increasing and I was gaining some muscle, a little muscle here and there, I was eating more food. So, I mean, the numbers were there. I could see, wow, 3 months ago, I was eating X. Now I'm eating X plus X plus X, and I'm losing weight. The machine doesn't care. The machine doesn't lie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And look, my coaches told me the same thing, right? They told me the same. The lady that ran that company, she told me the same thing. She's like, you have to eat more, Kirk. And she was super fit, very slim lady. And she's like, she told me, you got to eat more. So, yep.
Okay, lesson: eat more.
Yeah, I know.
Science.
It's hard. Don't get me wrong. I struggle with it too. I struggle with it
Yeah.
mentally and physically. The physical act of eating the food. And this is why most people fail in the gym, especially men, to gain muscle because they don't eat enough food. Like I'll ask some big dude, like, how much food you eat? They're like, oh, 1,500, 1,800 calories. I'm like, I am half your size or much smaller, and I'm eating twice as you. One of us is doing something wrong, and I guarantee it's not me, right? That's what I tell them. You got to eat more food. You got to get that protein in. You can't build muscle without enough calories, right? Muscle is a luxury. Look, think of it this way. It's like buying a luxury purse or something. You don't need it. You might want it, but you don't need it, right? That's the same thing with muscle. You want the muscle, you don't really need it. So your body has to eat enough food to do all of that kind of good stuff.
Okay.
You can call in anytime with more questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Have a wonderful night.
Okay.
Okay, bye. All right, Angelique, big support of the show. Shout out to Angelique. She had lots of good questions and she came up. So I always love it when you guys come up. I love the interaction. It's a lot of fun. Like I said before, this is probably, that's probably the biggest. Well, I mean, I knew it would be fun based on my personality type, but it's even way more fun than I thought it would be, to be honest. That's why I love the live stream stuff. I've not filmed a single, just talking that video since my first live stream, which was the Fat Girl Fed Up. It's going to be weird trying to do one of those again, not having the interaction. It definitely feels off, let's say. Off. So, okay. Lots been going on in the chat since Angelique came. Let's see what's going on there. See if I missed any questions from you guys. Okay, this is interesting. Studies show eating raw veggies like carrots, spinach, and cucumber are associated with good mental health and mood. Okay, I could see that. Lots of good nutrients in those in vegetables. Let's see. Also, proteins such as fish, beef, chicken, turkey, tofu, beans, eggs, and unsweetened yogurt are linked to higher levels of dopamine and norepinephrine, both brain chemicals that play a role in our mood and concentration. Yeah, the protein stuff is for real. I mean, you get some amino acids floating in your bloodstream. I definitely feel mentally sharper, and there's some science in that as well. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, that is pretty sure. That is pretty, yeah, definitely. I agree. Shout out to Uwezimana Angelique. Thanks for sharing and being transparent. Yep. And I like that Angelique is always brave. She always cams up and she comes on. So, yes. The guys are just so shy. I know guys watch when I look at my analytics, but man, they are so quiet in the comments and they almost never call in. But YouTube says I got more male viewers than lady viewers. I remember like a month or so ago, it said way more ladies, but I don't know, man. They're like super duper invisible. Super duper invisible. But the analytics are what the analytics are. And I mean, I believe it. I think my topics are either gender neutral or maybe more skewed to the guys. So that makes sense, but they're very shy. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? You think I'm doing like a ladies channel or something? All right, I don't see any more questions. I don't think I've missed anybody's questions. If I did, I apologize. So let's see. I'm not sure if anybody else wants to call in. I'll drop the link one more time, see if anybody wants to call in. Got any brave dudes? Okay, we've been going for a good while. Yeah, almost an hour and 40 minutes. Time flies when you're having fun. So, okay. If anybody calls in really fast, I will take you as a caller. But if not, fantastic show. Just looking at the comparison between the 300-pound guy eating a lot and the 130-pound guy eating a lot, and you can see how both are realistic. I mean, the fat guy is easier for your brain to wrap your brain around, but the other guy, he exists. He's real. He exists. He's not a figment of your imagination. I exist. I know how much I eat. I eat a lot of food. And I'm not fat, right? I eat way more food today than I did when I was fat. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. So, again, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Next show is on Monday, but I will be dropping videos on Saturday and Sunday. But the next show is Monday. So, have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. So, later's my massive. Me go long now. For those of you who don't speak Jamaican patois, that is goodbye, my people. Peace.